This is Jeremy Sports Network coming to you live. How's everybody doing on tonight? We got some great basketball that's coming our way on tonight. We got the Washington Wizards taking on the Boston Celtics in game 2. They had game 1 on this past Sunday. And Washington was able to let that one go against Boston. Boston had a phenomenal game in game 1, and they look to repeat what they did in game 1 in game 2. And also tonight we got the Utah Jazz taking on the Golden State Warriors, which to me, I already believe that the Golden State Warriors are going to ease their way to the NBA Finals, and they look to go undefeated in this series against Utah as well. But let's go ahead and start with Washington versus the Boston Celtics. We know that this is going to be a great series. I believe what Boston did on this past Sunday was, I would say a little bit, they went overboard, with the three-pointers that we really haven't seen Boston shoot that well in any game that Boston has played. But what we can say is that Boston, right now, Isaiah Thomas is putting behind what happened between his sister. He's kind of, he's riding that high. And with him riding that high, his team is going to ride that high as well. And I believe that Boston is going to play really well tonight, but I believe John Wall will be able to put on another masterful performance like he did on this past Sunday, and his team is going to have to get themselves acclimated. We know that Bradley Beal averages over 28 points against Boston. He didn't have a good game against Boston on this past Sunday, so we look for John Wall to be able to dish that ball out to Bradley Beal and get Bradley Beal going early. Look out for that tonight. And also, Martin Gritat, he did not have the game that you thought he was going to have because Al Horford was able to get inside and dominate him towards the end of that game. And the Boston Celtics, in the matter of when they started out the game, they seemed as if they were too small against Washington, but they stayed with that lineup and they was able to knock down key shots. Jay Crowder was able to get going. You had Avery Bradley going off. Everybody was able to do their job and more behind the perimeter with Boston, which gave them the victory against Washington. But if you take away all those threes that were made by Boston, Washington still, to me, looks like the better team in order to win this series. This will be a great series, and I believe that Washington Wizards are going to take a game in Boston tonight and then head back to Washington with the series tied at 1 apiece. So this is going to be a phenomenal game on tonight. Please make sure you guys tune in to that one, 8 o'clock on TNT. But we're going to go into the numbers a little bit. John Wall averaging over 23 points per game, shooting 45% from the field. Isaiah Thomas is averaging over 28 points a game, shooting 46% from the field, and he's a 90% free throw shooter. Free throws are going to play big if Isaiah Thomas is able to get to the basket and not just settle on shooting threes. If he can get to the basket and cut to the basket and be able to attack them from the free throw line, Isaiah Thomas could really do some damage in putting up some big points in this series. Now, Al Horford, on the other hand, he's going to have to play as big as he needs to play going up against Martin Gritat, who has been averaging over 10 rebounds a game. Al Horford just averages only 6 rebounds per game. So he has to step his game up in order to outplay Martin Gritat on the boards, to give his team more possessions to have in order for them to be able to knock down those shots like they did in game 1. Now, if you're Washington, on the other hand, just stick to what you've already been doing and just get everybody to play better. That's the only thing you have to worry about if you're Washington Wizards. John Wall has been doing his thing, averaging a double-double throughout the playoffs and points and assists. He's just going to continue to be the John Wall of this particular year. He has career numbers this year. He's playing phenomenal this year. And I don't expect nothing less from John Wall going into game 2 on tonight. So I expect a big game from John Wall and the Washington Wizards on tonight. And this is going to be a good one. So let's go ahead and move over into the Utah Jazz, who is starting their series against the Golden State Warriors, who are undefeated right now in the playoffs. Undefeated. Now we're going to talk a little bit. Let's talk about the Golden State Warriors first. And the reason why I want to talk about Golden State first, this is going to be a test for them, not only because Steve Kerr is missing, but Steve Kerr may not come back throughout these whole entire playoffs. So they're going to lean heavy on themselves and what they already know what to do. And also, Mike Brown is going to help them defensively because Mike Brown, he's a good defensive coach. He's going to help them defensively and be able to make the adjustments that's necessary in order for them to dominate this series alone against the Utah Jazz. I don't think the Utah Jazz have enough firepower in order for them to compete with Golden State. But if you're Utah and if you play to the best of your abilities and to your strengths, you can win maybe a game or two from Golden State if they decide to give you that. Golden State is a 13.5-point favorite to win on tonight. Gordon Hayward, he's averaging over 21 points a game, shooting 47% from the field. We already know what the chef has been cooking up throughout the playoffs, averaging over 25, shooting 46% from the field. And KD they were able to get more time off for Kevin Durant to get healthy. That's the main thing. Kevin Durant being healthy and them being able to play with each other throughout this series right here. Because going into the finals, when you may be going up against a potential team like the Houston Rockets, having Kevin Durant is going to play a major factor in this series. And is going to play a major factor in the finals if they make it there to the Western Conference Finals. So Kevin Durant tonight is going to have to play big. He's going to have a good game on tonight. And Stephen Curry, we already know that what the chef is going to be cooking up. We know that Draymond Green is going to ball, and everybody else, the Sean Livingstons and those guys, Iguodala and those boys, they're getting healthy. They were able to have some time off to get healthy. So they're going to be able to, just like last night, I stated last night, if Cleveland get off to a fast start in the first 6 minutes, the first 6 minutes are going to dictate what's going to happen within the game for teams that's been off for a long period of time, 8 days or so. With Golden State, they've been off about 8 days. Just like Cleveland was off for about 8 days before they played their game. The first 6 minutes are very key, and we want to see what the first 6 minutes are going to be in this Golden State Warriors versus Utah Jazz matchup. Now, Derek Favors, for Utah, we do not know if he's going to play on tonight. That is a game time decision for Derek Favors. So we're looking to see if Derek Favors is going to be on the court tonight, because they're going to need him to be able to get some rebounds and to be able to battle down in the paint with Zaza Pachulia, JaVale McGee, and Draymond Green. That's what we need to see tonight with Derek Favors. Him playing or not playing for Utah is going to be very vital for them in this series. So, again, this is going to be a wonderful series. The players who are out for Golden State, Matt Barnes is not playing in this series. He's out. So don't look for Matt Barnes tonight. If any Matt Barnes fans are out there, he won't be dressing up tonight and be playing. But what is big is the simple fact that Golden State really, I don't think they're too much worried about Utah. Just studying their press conferences, and I've been watching the things it is that they've been saying. They're not really too much paying attention to what Utah is going to do to them at all, period, because they know they're a heavy favorite. They're a 13.5-point favorite against Utah. Now, if I didn't tell you what in the matchup on Washington versus Boston, but Boston is a 5-point favorite against Washington on tonight. And I believe the only reason why Vegas having them as a 5-point favorite in order for them to win on tonight is because of the home atmosphere that they'll be playing in. So they should be looking to win a game at home, to be up 2-0 in the series. But like I said, I think Washington is going to even that series out. And then if you're Golden State is going to do what Golden State is going to do on tonight at 10:30 on TNT. They're going to ball. They're going to get buckets. All they have to do is worry about the first 6 minutes of them being able to knock down shots and knock off a little bit of that rust of them not being able to play playoff basketball for about 8 days. We saw Cleveland perform on last night. They looked very primed and well heading into the rest of that series in the East, heading to the Eastern Conference Finals. And we want to see the same thing from Golden State tonight. So pay attention to those key things right there, like I said, and we will see what will happen on tonight. Now, I want to give a big shout out to big boy James Harden, who had a hell of a game on last night. Him and his team did phenomenal against San Antonio Spurs. And if you saw my last show when I asked who was going to win between Houston and San Antonio, you saw exactly what it was that I said. Houston score points. San Antonio can't compete with Houston because of the points that Houston puts up. They average over 115 points a game, with San Antonio not even averaging over 100 a game. So how could San Antonio be able to compete with Houston? And we saw last night Houston run them off the floor. But I want to give the game ball last night to James Harden. He had a hell of a game. So I look for him to have a prime series heading into the Western Conference Finals against hopefully the Golden State Warriors. We will see. But this is Jeremy Sports Network signing out. You guys make sure you have a wonderful night of basketball. Tune in to Jeremy Sports Network for post-game interviews coming to you guys on tonight and on YouTube. But this is Jeremy Sports Network signing out. Peace.